Call the meeting of the Fiscal Court to order. Welcome, everybody. First meeting in September. Summer's fast slipping away. We have a pretty full agenda this morning, but I think we can get through on a timely basis, maybe. Brother Tim Holly is with us this morning, and we have a resolution I think Tim is going to ask the court to approve. So, Brother Tim, we'll yield the floor to you.
Well, good morning, Your Honor, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure if the first thing on the agenda is having a preacher speak is a good thing, but I'll try to keep it very short.
As us Baptists say, be brief, brother, be brief.
Let's all get to the restaurant on time. I like that. In conjunction with some of the folks here on the board, we have a busy weekend coming up. We have the emergency responders dinner on Friday night, and then on Saturday we have the Jeff Billingsley Project at Marshall County High School, where Jeff, a former Memphis police officer who was shot in the line of duty, is going to speak with our emergency service professionals about what his life is like, about his book that he's just written, and about post-traumatic stress or critical stress. And in conjunction with this, since we're doing this on Friday and Saturday, and we want to recognize, and I do say professionals, in law enforcement emergency services, I would like to put forth a resolution to make next weekend in Marshall County an official emergency responders weekend. And I have a copy here of the resolution. I'm not sure if that's something you read, Your Honor, or but I just wanted to put it forth to the county this morning.
Go ahead and read it, Tim.
Okay, great. Well, Emergency Responder Appreciation Weekend. Whereas the first responders of Marshall County sacrificed their time and personal safety in the execution of their duties to protect the public on a daily basis, and whereas first responders are the first line of defense for the public in the wake of threats to our homes and families, and whereas first responders stand at the ready to come to the aid of the citizens of Marshall and surrounding county 24 hours a day. And whereas first responders are a vital part of our communities, many volunteering additional time in our school systems and to assist nonprofit organizations in their efforts, and whereas individuals and their collective agencies, including police officers, firefighters, search and rescue, 911 dispatch, EMS, and others in the public safety sector come together as a collective to aid the community in the event of an emergency, and whereas the citizens of Marshall County wish to honor the responders this September 6, 2013, with an annual Emergency Responders Appreciation Dinner and plan activities to improve the health and welfare of all those who serve this community, I, Mike Miller, do hereby proclaim this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, September 6th, 7th, and 8th, Emergency Responder Appreciation Weekend. And at the bottom it says, we encourage all county citizens to attend the 5th Annual Emergency Responders Appreciation Dinner in honor of the county responders being held this Friday, September 6th at the Kentucky Dam Convention Center at 5:30 p.m. The public is also asked to join Brother Tim Polly and members of First Christian Church of Benton and the Emergency Services Alliances on Saturday at the Shadone Performing Arts Center at 10 a.m. as they welcome Jeff Billingsley, a former Memphis law enforcement officer shot in the line of duty, who will speak of his own personal journey of finding faith while battling through post-traumatic stress disorder. The 10 a.m. session is open to the public, with a 2 p.m. session reserved for responders and spouses only. This is the proclamation and resolution, Your Honor.
All right, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Mr. Billingsley will be, let me make sure we got that right, at 10 o'clock, it's open to the public.
Yes.
And then at 2 o'clock, it's for responders and their families.
Yes, and we will have trained counselors on hand if any of our emergency service professionals feel they need somebody to talk to. And also, Mr. Billingsley is willing to take questions in public or respond to them at a later date if needed, but there will be resources for help if somebody should need that.
All right. Thank you, Brother Tim. Brian Kurtzinger.
Thank you, Judge. First off, I'd like to thank him for all that he's done for all the emergency responders. I think it's a really good thing, as several times we kind of get overlooked. You know, everybody we typically get called out and everybody just assumes we'll be there. So a lot of times these guys and gals are overlooked. So I'd like to thank Tim for all that he's done for us. The reason for me being here today is I've recently completed a bid packet for the purchase of a new ambulance this year. We are looking at replacing a 2007 ambulance with roughly, I believe it's got 200,000 miles on it, or fixing to very shortly. So it's our oldest truck, and we're looking to replace it this year. The cost of a new one will be somewhere around $125,000, and that will be everything included with the graphics, the stretcher, and all the stuff required for the ambulance to be functional as soon as we get it. So the reason I'm here today is I'd like to begin that process by placing an ad in the paper to advertise for bids and to have bids sent to the fiscal court for approval.
Now, Brian, will we have any grant funds on this one, or is this strictly a?
We do get the grant funding from the KCTCS. It's roughly, I think it's right at $11,000. It's $10,000, right at $11,000 every year. I know recently I had you sign the papers for, they combine 2 years, so it'll be 2014 and 2015 we'll get in the same year. So yes, usually we get around $10,000 to $11,000 every year for the purchase of a new ambulance.
All right, you've heard the request of our ambulance director, Mr. Cutzinger. What's your pleasure?
Motion approved, Judge.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
Is this budgeted?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, no problem.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Brian. Bob Gifford is not here this morning. Wendy, do you know what Bob had?
I do not. I wasn't.
Okay. Okay. Well, Bob's been having some health problems, so I don't know if he's at a doctor's appointment or just where he is this morning. We'll have him on the next agenda. Next, you've all received the minutes of the August 20 meeting of the fiscal court. Any corrections or additions to the minutes of the meeting?
Judge, on page 3, section D, it says that I made a motion and seconded it.
Hold on
I
just
don't
a
know who
minute.
did that.
Oops.
I don't know which I did.
Well, I knew you were strong, Anderson, but I didn't know just that fast.
Sneaky there.
Melody, I guess, that day, huh?
Uh,
I'm not sure, but I don't know if that needs to be corrected. I just saw
well,
it.
yeah, I don't know.
It was seconded by Commissioner Gold. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you remember that second, Commissioner
I
Gold?
do,
You allowed that change to be made?
I do.
All right, with that change, any other corrections or additions to the minutes of the meeting?
No.
I
Motion
entertain a motion.
approved.
We have a motion by Squire Gold. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Crooked Oak Loop, we had a petition for Crooked Oak Loop, and it's my understanding, and the county attorney says there are several other items needed before we can go forward with a public hearing. They need copies of the deeds, proof of residence for 15 years. So I think he has supplied the owners
I
of the
can call
property.
Jim and get that. I know we had the people, you had Bobby and Josh and someone else, Russ, I think,
Russ,
look at the
Point.
road. They won't put the cart before the horse. Is the road in a condition that we will move forward anyway? If so, then I'll obtain those documents. If not, well,
Have y'all had a
We
chance?
ain't had a chance to get up.
Okay.
yes, I mean, if.
Yeah, I understand. When they look at it, if there's,
If,
we got-
that's the reason I got an email, I received an email last week, but I didn't go ahead and get all that gathered because I didn't know if the road was gonna be suitable.
right,
Or not. So I thought if they looked at it and says that there's a possibility, then we can gather that information.
all right.
I can just stay in touch with Russell about it. Russell, you can call me whenever y'all.
Is the road, is it gonna qualify being as narrow as it is?
Well, that's what we don't know. Terry and I have talked about that. We have other roads that are narrow. Y'all would have to determine, after you look at it, and then report to Terry and I.
I was thinking, Judge, that there's a possibility at the least it might come in as an existing road,
Right.
and then it would have to be brought up to standards, and I didn't know if those people would be willing or want to do that.
To give some additional right-of-way, because I really don't know what the right-of-way is. Y'all have to look into that.
I think it's supposed to be 40 foot's what it is. Seems like I've seen on some papers.
I called the surveyor and they determined that if that's the correct road, they said it was 40 foot. That's what's dedicated on the plat.
It's just a matter of whether or not,
But if Russ looks at it and it doesn't meet the specs and it needs to, then he would have to give us some kind of an indication what the cost would be, because the
Exactly.
county would be obligated for half of that, and those residents the remainder, and they may not want to proceed.
yeah,
So we need to see if they can tell us what condition it is, so we'll know what we need to do.
if y'all would report back to us between now and the next court meeting, so Terry and I will know how to proceed at that point. All right.
Ask a question. I thought the width used to be 50.
It's been 60, it's been 50, and it's been 40. Now, the state, the reason we started out with 60 was because at that time, the state required a 60-foot right-of-way if we were ever going to turn it over for state maintenance. They then dropped to 50, and I don't know if it's still 50 or 40, but I think we require on most of our roads is 40 foot. We have more than that on some roads, Lloyd.
We have a lot that are less, 30.
Yes.
A lot of 30s.
A lot of we took in, you know, when the county was just taking in roads before we ever had a road priority list and roads were just taken in. It said ditch to ditch or fence to fence, you know, so there's a lot of them out there that are not even 40 foot. Any other old business? Emily?
It was brought to my attention that during the time that our animal control officers, Dennis Levis and Mike Green, were out at training, that we had a substitute ACO, and we have not compensated him at this point. The standard, if you break down our ACO's current pay, 1 week comes to $237.69. Would that be?
This was
Has
for
he-
Jimmy when he filled in. We've
Yeah.
never paid him.
I mean, well, do we not need to contact him and see if that's satisfactory? I mean, he may have
He-
other
he-
ideas.
He acted like to me that it.
Oh,
that it
did
would
he?
be.
If he's fine with it, I'll make a motion to pay him.
All right. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other old business?
Judge, it had been discussed about the medical office in Calvert City, the building that is, I guess, owned by the county, but where the health department used to have an office. They've obviously moved out, but it had been brought up about the sale of that building, and there's been a lot of concern about that. Do you have any updates on?
Well, I have talked with Mayor Jones. I've talked with members of the Board of Health, met with a hospital administrator. It is being used now by Dr. Waller. Dr. Waller, I suppose, is there maybe 1 day a week. I'm not sure. But he does have nurse practitioners there. And I've talked to several people as well. Now, whether or not the city or Dr. Waller is going to be interested in buying the building, I'm not sure. The county, really, we have no need for it. We went into a cooperative arrangement with the health department and the hospital. At that time, we staffed an office there for the public health department. We got very little activity. In fact, we didn't get enough to merit keeping our people there. So we closed our office. Dr. Waller is renting part of that building. The rent goes to the hospital. Why, I don't know. This goes way back. But no decision has been made at this point. My concern is, and has been, leaving Calvert City without medical coverage. However, it comes down to, does Dr. Waller, would he be interested in making an offer, or the city making an offer? And Lynn indicated that they might. He didn't say they would not, but they would take a look at it. So we're kind of in limbo right now, but I am in contact with the mayor and with all the entities involved. No final decision has been made.
What will the process be? I guess, in other words, they found out about it, some of the employees of the doctor's office and residents that utilize that doctor's office by newspaper reports. Could we say with a surety that that's not going to happen again, that maybe they would be in on some preliminary discussion before it's brought to a vote to sell?
Well, we certainly will
or-
talk to anybody that's involved before a final decision is made.
Okay.
The hospital is not interested in continuing, the health board is not interested, so it comes down to us as a
Right.
third party. Can we afford to subsidize a private practice? That was brought up at the health department meeting by one of our members.
Right.
And it could be that Dr. Waller might be interested in buying the building, or the city, or a combination
Okay.
of the two. I don't know. But right now, all I can say is no decision is final.
And will it come before the fiscal court, Judge, for a
Well,
vote, or?
yeah, I think we will have to vote. Of
Okay.
course, if majority rules, two of the entities say yes and we say no, leave that up to the attorneys to decide
Right.
where that leaves us.
I just wanted to make
We
sure.
have said,
Right.
as fiscal court, that our concern is, and still is, Calvert being left without medical coverage.
Right.
So, to me, that's a big issue.
Right,
So, we'll continue to keep the court informed
okay.
as we go through this. Any other old business? Let's go into new business. We have a petition for Way Avenue. I'm not sure.
We got this morning, I need to send this in.
Here's our notes, Judge, about Way.
Okay, this petition was completed on an old form. We need to know if they are petitioning it as a new road or an existing road. One of the petitioners is for commercial property. The other properties are new developments. We are assuming it would be a new road. Where is Wave Avenue, Russell?
Behind Hardee's in Drakenville.
Is this a new subdivision, or?
No.
It's a whole road. It just was never tucked into the county road system.
There's storage buildings in there, Judge. Public has accessed for a long, long time, probably 20 or more years. But I don't think there were any residents there until recently.
It's part of Gateway Village subdivision. It's been, Gateway Village has been there for years, but the structures are new.
Excluding the storage.
Excluding the
Yeah, the storage
But
buildings.
it's commercial.
Right, it's been there a long time.
So we're assuming they're petitioning this as an existing road, not a new road, but an existing
Right,
road.
Existing road. I'd spoken to Mr. Beard about that, and I told him that would probably be the best it would be able to do, it was considered existing road, because there was no homes on it. But the public accessed that road for the use of the storage building, so I didn't know how for sure that would come into play. I spoke briefly with Mr. Edwards about it. I'm not sure, how long is that road, Russ?
I don't know.
1,000 feet, maybe? It's not very long, just a short L shape.
So the notes we have here from the county attorney is they assume this will be considered a new road. Is that,
I think it's just
position?
unclear, is that true, Anita?
That's what
We
Jeff
just
and
need
I
to be cleared
discussed.
up.
Jeff was unclear as to would it be a new road or not, or an existing road because of the storage buildings. And the public had been using it for a number of years.
Yeah.
So he wasn't certain, and he said the distance of the road didn't come into play with their ordinance. It was something, it was sort of, the ordinance didn't really describe. It said it had to be a certain distance, but when you have a road shorter than that's described in the ordinance, what do you do with those? So he wasn't sure exactly how we'd deal with it at that point in time. We were just discussing it over the phone.
So less than a quarter mile.
Yeah, it's just really a lot less, probably.
And you have three owners back there? Johnny Sutherland, Mac Tucker, and
Three signed the petition.
Scott Phillips.
That's right, Your Honor. Those three people signed the petition.
Well, do you want to wait till Jeff gets back and take this up at the next meeting and try to get some of these? I mean, it doesn't matter with me. I'm like Terry, if it's been there all this time, and there is a structure back there that has been used by the public, you almost have to assume it's an existing road.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, but that's asked Jeff, and we were on the phone, and he was unclear, and I was there with Mr. Beard at the time, and he said we'd just talk about it and try to decide. He wasn't sure if it would be an existing road or not at that particular time, and I haven't spoken to him about it again. We could do that.
I think we should table it,
Yeah,
and we
wait
can
for him.
contact Mr. Sutherland, Mr. Tucker, and Mr. Phillips and try to clarify some of these issues that aren't apparent on the face of the petition.
Okay.
You probably need to give them the current petition and not the old one, too.
Right.
Okay, well, I hear a motion to table.
Motion to table, Judge.
I have a motion to table any action on Wave Avenue. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The motion carries. Next is our first reading of our tax ordinance.
Judge, if we can, I think we should move item F up to prior to the reading of the tax ordinance. Because the ordinance reflects a different amount than we have previously approved. August 16th, the state issued reassessment numbers to us, and that will cause our tangible rate to fluctuate, and we need to amend. We've already approved the tangible rate, we need to strike that approval and reapprove new rates for 2013 that are reflected in this ordinance.
Now, where are you? You're at F right now,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we can move F up prior to the first reading.
You understand what she's saying?
We're gonna raise tangible from 990, which we previously had approved of recently, to 10.8,
Yes.
which would bring our income to exactly what it was prior to that, right?
Right.
Yes. it's
$16,000.
Right, it's not a tax increase from 2012. We were issued incorrect numbers from the state to begin with. So there's a long process of calculating those rates. So we calculated them off of the first rates that we were given, assigned rates based off of those calculations, and now we're given new numbers, so we have to reapprove rates. And the rate would be, the real property does not change, it would stay at 9.9, but tangible would go to what the 2012 rate was, is 10.83.
And that would bring our income exactly as it was the previous year.
Right, a slight change based on assessment, but no tax increase.
Right. I make a motion, we amend that, Judge, to
We have a
10.8.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you. Didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted that ordinance to have the correct number in it.
Is that what you need? All right, now, we will go to ordinance 201307, our tax rates, first reading. This is an ordinance relating to the adoption of the 2013 Marshall County tax rates. Whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court adopted the 2013-2014 fiscal year budget on the 25th day of June, 2013, and whereas the Kentucky State Revenue Cabinet has certified the Marshall County property assessments as real estate, $1,724,580,878. Tangible personal property, $183,857,227. Public service companies, $100,297,708. Motor vehicles, $237,942,227. Watercraft, $24,263,101. Aircraft, $123,267. Watercraft non-commercial, $8,797,848. Inventory in transit, $115,559,864. Now therefore it is ordained by the Marshall County Fiscal Court, Section 1, in accordance with KRS 68245 through 68249, there is levied for the year 2013 the general ad valorem tax per $100 assessed valuation on all taxable property within the jurisdiction for the general fund and such additional tax rates for each special district or other fund as indicated. General fund, 9.9, tangible, 10.83. Health district, 7.5. Hospital, 3.8 real, 4.3 tangible. Library, 9.6 real, 9.6 tangible. Refuse, 9.4 real, 9 cents tangible. Extension, 1.8 real and tangible. Soil conservation, 0.05 half cent real only. Aurora Fire District, 9.5 real and tangible. Gilbertsville Fire District, 7.5 real and tangible. East Marshall, 9.4 real and tangible. Possum Trot Sharp, 6.8. Bryansburg, Draftonville, Alma, 10 cents real, 10 cents tangible. West Marshall Fire Department, 7.5 real and tangible. Fair Dealing Olive, 8.25 real and tangible. Hardin South Marshall, 10 cents real and tangible. West Marshall, now does that include Harvey Brewers now?
Yes,
So it's all one now, okay. A little bit confusing, maybe, just one, okay. Section 2, in accordance with KRS 132.487, there is levied for the year 2014 the tax rate of 11.2 cents per $100 of the taxable value of motor vehicles, watercrafts registered in Marshall County. Section 3, in accordance with KRS 136.575, there is levied for the year 2013 the tax rate of 25 thousandths of 1% on bank deposits held by all financial institutions within the County of Marshall. Section 4, this ordinance shall be published in the Tribune Courier newspaper by title and summary within 30 days following adoption. This ordinance becomes effective upon passage and publication. First reading held on the 3rd day of September 2013. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. We'll have our second reading at the next meeting of the fiscal court. So do you need this to publish?
Quick question, Judge.
Yes, sir.
On the fire protection districts, is the 10 cents the maximum tax they can,
Yes, sir. My understanding. Next is ordinance 213. Oh, wait, I guess this is to try to clean up some language. On our tourism, is that right, Randy? Yes. Okay. Jeff and his staff have been looking this over and made a few changes. Might be rather lengthy, but I'll read it anyway. Now therefore be it resolved and order by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Kentucky as follows. The ordinance of November 17, 1970, and all further amendments made prior to the instant ordinance by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County are hereby amended and replaced by the instant ordinance. The Fiscal Court authorizes and establishes the Marshall County Tourist Commission pursuant to KRS 91A 350, KRS 91A 360, and KRS 91A 390. Members, duties, vacancies, and expiration of terms. A, members of the County Tourist Commission will be chosen in the following manner. 3 members will be appointed by the County Judge Executive, chosen from a list of 6 names submitted by the Hotel Motel Association. If no such association exists, the 6 names will be submitted based on their representation of the local hotel industry. B, 1 member will be appointed by the County Judge Executive, chosen from a list of 3 names submitted by the local restaurant association. If no such association exists, the 3 names will be chosen based on their representation of the local restaurant industry. 1 member will be appointed by the County Judge Executive, chosen from a list of 3 names chosen by the local Chamber of Commerce. If no such chamber exists, the 3 names will be chosen based on their representation of local business. 2 members will be chosen and appointed by the Judge Executive. All appointments will be made by the Judge Executive within 30 days of the receipt of names. Each member of the Marshall County Tourist Commission will serve for a term of 3 years. Vacancies in the commission will be filled in accordance with 2AI of this ordinance and KRS 91A 360. Appointments at the end of the term. Choice 1. Upon the expiration of the term of any member of the Marshall County Tourist Commission, the former member will hold over and serve in their capacity as acting members until such time as an appointment is made by the County Judge Executive. B, members of the Marshall County Tourist Commission are not removable at will. They may only be removed from office by the County Judge Executive or officers of the Fiscal Court for inefficiency, neglect of duty, malfeasance, or conflict of interest. The procedure for removing a member are outlined in KRS 65007. Each year, the Commissioner will request funds for operation from the Fiscal Court. These funds will be raised by the levying of a transient room tax. A, the Fiscal Court levies a transient room tax of 3% of the gross rental income from persons, companies, and corporations operating as hotels, motels, bed and breakfast establishments, motor courts, and vacation home rental operators in Marshall County, Kentucky, to be collected by such persons, companies, and corporations on behalf of the Treasurer. Persons, companies, and corporations operating as hotels, motels, bed and breakfast establishments, motor courts, and vacation home rental operators in the Marshall County, Kentucky must on or before the 20th day of the month following the close file a return with the Treasurer of Marshall County of other designated agent of the Fiscal Court, setting forth the aggregate amount of the gross rental charges during the preceding calendar month, and for every occupancy of a suite, room, or rooms, together with such pertinent information as the Treasurer or designated agent may require. Such information shall be of a confidential nature. and shall not be open to inspection by the public, but shall be for the use and benefit of the designated agents of the fiscal court and the treasurer only.
That should read fiscal court or the treasurer, I
That's
think,
what
Your
I
Honor.
thought, there's a typo there. C, a fee of $250 shall be imposed for each failure to file a return on or before the 20th day of each month following close. This is in addition to any other penalties and interest imposed for a failure to tender the collected tax. Interest at the rate of 0.5% per month will be imposed for each month the transient room tax is not paid. Additionally, a delinquency penalty at a rate of 1.5% per month for each month the transient room tax is not paid. In addition to fees, penalties, and interest, any person or business failing to file the transient room tax will be subject to criminal prosecution. Failure to file will constitute a violation under the Kentucky Penal Code. 4, the records of the commission shall be audited annually by an independent auditor who shall make a report to the commission, to the association from which the members are chosen, to the county judge executive, to the state auditor of public accounts, and to the fiscal court. A copy of this audit will be made available by the commission to members of the public upon request at no charge. 5, each section and each provision of each section of this ordinance are severable, and if any provision, section, paragraph, sentence, or part thereof of the application thereof to any person, license, class, or group be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason, such holding shall not affect or impair the remainder of this ordinance, it being the legislative intent to ordain and enact each provision, section, paragraph, sentence, and part thereof separately and independently of every other. The provision of this ordinance will take effect upon passage. The first reading held on September the 3rd, 2013. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion, Judge.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Randy, let me ask you, particularly the section where it says people who have rental homes for vacationers. Do we have many of those in the county?
We have several, and it changes on a weekly basis. In fact, Emily and Elena, who works for me, and myself, we go on vacation home rental sites periodically because a new home will pop up. And by statute, if you rent your home out one night to anyone, a vacation for an overnight stay, even if for just one event, you're required by law to collect a 3% transient room tax. And so there are constantly vacation homes popping up on the lake where they'll rent their home out. That being said, a week later, that home may not be rented out anymore. What we find is a lot of homes, they think it's a great idea to rent their home. They rent it out a few times and realize that it's not a great deal to rent their home, and so they'll stop. So that list keeps fluctuating on the numbers. We've had as many as, 80 lodging businesses in Marshall County when you take in those private homes.
Judge, my brother built 2 houses for a gentleman several years ago, and specifically to be rented out as homes for a week at a time. Guy lives in California, he rents 3 or 4 houses all the time.
I just wondered if that would be kind of hard to stay up with, wouldn't it, Randy?
It's extremely difficult, but it's amazing how the local lodging owners, they keep an eye out for these homes that
Yeah.
pop up. So we
They
get calls
will.
all the time, you may want to check out such and such home.
Okay.
So how did this legislation change from what we had on the books?
Basically what this is, there's no change. Basically what's happened, since 1970, the original ordinance, there have been several amendments that have come on that the fiscal court has done.
So all you've been asked to really
So now it's just all in one.
Just cleaning it up.
What we have is we have some properties that we have had some trouble collecting the transit room tax. And the way the ordinance was pieced together with all the court amendments, it was difficult to actually get through and see what parts went where. So Jeff and I talked about it, thought it would be better to put it all together, make it more concise and to clarify it.
Okay, now this is applicable to all camping?
No,
No.
No, not at all to camping?
no camping, no house.
So you can have no camping and no what?
Houseboats.
No houseboats.
We used to be able to get transit room tax on houseboats until about 15 years ago. But no, campsites are not included.
However, like, if a campsite has a little lodge or a little cabin that they rent
And
out,
those cabins are.
those are.
Right, okay.
And we have never imposed a restaurant tax. Some counties have added that to their,
Cities of fourth and fifth class are allowed to institute a restaurant tax. So
Yeah.
Calvert City, Benton, and Hardin would be able to institute up to a 3% restaurant tax. And that money would be used in the same manner as the transit room tax. It would be turned over to the tourist commission, and then we would use that for promotion. and
yeah,
marketing.
but we've never done that.
No, that just takes the reading of that's up to the city councils to do.
Sure, yes, okay. All right, thank you. Andrus Road, this is a road in District 1. Half of it was taken into the county and about, what, 600 feet, Russell?
700.
About 700 feet was not, and it goes to a cemetery. Bob and I have been out and verified that the cemetery is there, and that the 700, 600, 700 feet need desperately to be taken in to the Marshall County Road Department. And
That would take us up to
to the cemetery.
access to the cemetery.
Right, that's as far as we want to go. So, since we have a court order on the book, back from when David Buckingham was circuit judge of Marshall County, that we take all cemetery roads into the county, I would recommend that we take that 700 feet of Andrus Road into the county road system. I need a motion.
I'd make that motion, Judge.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Title transfers, Emily?
Judge, I have been beginning an inventory process within our vehicles and comparing those with the titles that I have on file and what we have insured. And in that process, I found 3 vehicles that are titled to the Marshall County Fiscal Court, but are actually either should have never been titled to us or have been transferred to the Marshall County Refuge District, because they are using those vehicles and have those vehicles insured, and we do not have them insured. So I wanted to ask for fiscal court approval to transfer, a 1998 Ford Econoline van ending in VIN number 6095, 2003 Mack garbage truck, ending VIN number 3179, and a 2001 Ford F366, VIN number ending 9893, to the Refuge District. On the other side of that, the Refuge District has titled to them a 2006 Ford F-250 ending in VIN number 1871 that is being used by the fiscal court and that we insure. So I'm going to in turn ask them to transfer that vehicle to us, just to get these the titles titled to the entity that is using them.
It's more of a housekeeping measure, but we need to do
Yes,
this
absolutely.
for our record keeping.
We need a motion?
Yes,
Make a motion, we allow Emily to transfer these vehicles.
all right.
Stipulated.
And for me to sign on our behalf. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Next, we have a drawdown request from the Arts Commission This is the lease agreement between the Kentucky Association of Counties Finance Corporation and the County of Marshall as leasee dated November 30th, 2012. This is requisition certificate number 6. The leasee hereby requests a disbursement from the participant disbursement account in the amount of $127,164.98 and hereby certifies as follows, except that with respect to a disbursement to pay an interest component of lease rental payments during construction of a project, only the document described in A below will be required. Attached is a statement of the amount and nature of each of the costs of the project to be paid and the name and address of the payee with the payee statement and, if reimbursement to the lessee of amounts previously paid is requested, evidence of such payment. Each item for which payment or reimbursement is requested is or was necessary in connection with the cost of the project, and none of such items form the basis for any previous payment from the participant disbursement account. Each contractor, subcontractor, and material man has filed with the leasee receipts or waivers of liens for all amounts previously certified for payment, or any account previously certified for reimbursement to the lessee, or there is on file with the lessee a canceled check endorsed by the contractor, subcontractor, or material man evidencing such payment. All of the warranties and representations of the lessee contained in the lease are true and correct as of the date of such disbursement, as though such warranties and representations were made on such date. No event of default has occurred under the lease. The right of the lessee to control the acquisition, construction, and installation of the project has not otherwise been terminated pursuant to the lease. And the amounts on deposit in the participant disbursement account will be sufficient to complete the project in accordance with the approved plan and specifications. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve the disbursement, Judge.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
This should be the final draw on that loan, as this should close out the availability of funds in it.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Next, intra-fund transfers, Emily?
The state incorrectly deposited funds for the road fund into the 911 fund, so I contacted you all back on August 22nd to let you know that I was gonna transfer these funds from the road fund to the 911 fund, so I'm just formally doing this in court. I've already transferred, just by the bank only, $199,594.04 from the 911 fund to the road fund for those are truck license distribution fees that the state collects and distributes for us into wrong accounts.
All right, you've heard the request. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Next, we have the East Marshall Fire Protection District budget. I think you all have copies of that, do you not? Or do you? Okay. Total revenues expected, or total revenues received, that was $307,313.17. Total available was $428,845.61. And expenditures of $288,605. Everything looks in order. I would recommend the approval of the financial statement from the East Marshall Fire Protection District.
Motion approved, Judge.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Harvey Brewers, their total revenues were $97,397.05. Total available was $135.14. Total expenditure was $61,630.13. This is from Harvey Brewers. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, second. Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. E&O, which now, we call it West Marshall, right? E&O and Harvey Brewers combined is now West Marshall. E&O, their total revenue was $66,328.34. Their total available was $106,832.34. Their total expenditures, $106,382.34. It should close them out now that they're combining with Harvey Brewers. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve, Judge.
Have a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Family Fun Day Color Run. Wendy, you want to talk about that?
This year is our 10th year doing Family Fun Day at Mike Miller Park. We have, you can pass those out if you want, Judge. This year the run is going to be a little different. The animal shelter is using the run as a fundraiser. So we're doing a paint run. So as you run, there will be color stations set up throughout the park, and by the time you're done, you'll be covered in paint. So we're excited about it. We've already got probably the 175 registered, and we're still 2 weeks out. So we're anticipating at least 500 at the run, and then Family Day continues to grow as well. Family Day will start at 11 o'clock and last until 3. The emergency services guys will all come out and let the kids see fire trucks and police and the helicopter from that Mark Harrison is with will be there as well this year and land, and that's always a big fun thing. And then we've got events starting on Friday with the Responders Dinner. Fern Fest is Saturday night in Calvert City, and then events that spread out through next week, which is all on your flyer as well. So it's going to be a big week. The weather is supposed to be really nice, so we're looking forward to a very busy but fun week. Any questions? And we really thank the fiscal court. I mean, we do all of this on donations. We do not charge for anything on Family Day. We do all the inflatables for free. The families are not out any money at all at Family Day other than the run. But to come to Family Day, it's provided at no expense to Marshall Countyans.
Okay, thanks. Next is a paving request, Sled Creek Road. Misty, that you?
Yeah. The folks out there had given us a call, and Russell and I went out and took a look at the road. It's basically the very end portion of Sled Creek. And the only question that I had is whether or not that used to be the state road, and whenever it was transferred over to the county, we just want to make sure that that last portion was actually taken in. I'm not really sure whether or not it was, because as I understand, I think there was a resident maybe at the time that didn't want it paved all the way to the end. So we just need to, I wanted to know what you all wanted to advise on that. Maybe if we could pull the records on it and just see whether or not it was actually taken in all the way down, and then maybe just a portion wasn't paved at the very end at the request of the residents, or what the status was. I'm not really sure what happened at that time, if it was just a special request.
Does the same resident still live there, Misty?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Do they kind of want it now?
They want it now, and I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a situation where we needed to take more in. I'm kind of hoping that maybe the residents just opted out of it, and that it's already road that was taken in. It just wasn't paved at their request, but I wanted to see if maybe we could go back and look at the records.
Say, Russell?
We've just, I mean, on our records, we've got 10,507 foot. But the way it looks like, it's not a driveway. There's just about 100 to 150 foot section that where the blacktop quits and where these people's blacktop driveway starts. And I don't know.
So you've got blacktop, gravel, and then blacktop.
Yes, yes.
Well, if the county attorney has no objection, I certainly, I mean, it just seems kind of silly, them people having to go through gravel.
I just-
And I'm pretty sure it's affecting more than just one person,
Two, I think, two.
you know.
Mhm.
Their driveways goes on down past where our blacktop stops.
Judge, was that previously a state road, that section that
Yes.
we're
It
referring to?
was, and we took, it was one of those swap deals, wasn't it?
Mhm.
That we swapped out years ago, Terry.
So our record should indicate that we own it then, shouldn't it?
Well, he says we go how many feet?
Russell can measure that. with
Ten
his truck.
thousand 507. I'm sure that's right there is what we measured. That right there.
Is just where you maintain now?
Yes, 10,507.
But I'm not, go back to what Ms. Carter trained us a few months ago. What does the minutes say when we took it in?
If the minutes say that you took in Sled Creek Road and it was a state road all the way to that
So-
driveway, I think you're good.
Right.
If the minutes reflect you took in so many feet, there could be a question, so we need to go pull those minutes.
Okay.
I didn't know about Andrews Road until this morning when I opened your email, so I'll be glad to research that and
Okay.
report back to the judge if you'll give me
Okay.
time at the next
Okay,
meeting.
will they need a petition on that?
It depends on what the
Depending?
fiscal court minutes
Okay.
show.
If the minutes show we're already there, I
Then
don't
we're
think we'll
good.
need anything.
Okay.
We'll just-
There's only a question if it's measured in feet, and then there's some extra that would be in question.
Right.
Okay, as to the ownership. Okay.
Just on the surface, it sounds like somebody just didn't want us to do it.
That's what I'm thinking. I just
And
want to make
so
sure.
out of, I guess, concern or whatever, we just didn't, but we'll look up and we'll find out.
Okay.
We may have to go back, like Terry said, officially do something, but we'll do that. Emily, there was something here on Fish and Wildlife. You wanna,
Yes, we had another bank error this month also. The United States Department of the Interior with the Fish and Wildlife Services annually gives us an estimated payment that is kind of in lieu of tax payment. It's usually around $14,000, 13,900, somewhere in there. They added an additional zero to the end of their deposit, so they gave us $139,000 instead of 13,900.
You tell them thank you?
Yeah, so it's been about 3 weeks us getting in touch with one another and them investigating and seeing that they did make an error, so we have to give that back. I just wanted your authorization to allow me to complete a direct ACH debit authorization for them to pull that from our account and then give us the correct amount. I'm not positive I need the authorization for them to take back what was theirs, but I'd rather have it than not need it. Or
I make a motion, we allow her to take care of it, Judge.
we have a motion to allow Emily to work with the United States Department of the Interior to straighten out an overpayment that they made to the Marshall County Fiscal Court. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Uh,
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
We could drag that out a couple of years.
Well, we could, get a little interest
Draw a
on it,
little
maybe.
interest
Well,
off
that's
of
what
it.
I figured if they find it, it'll be a couple years later and then we'd be upset that they wanted it.
All right, gentlemen, we have been opening the courthouse, having the girls come up and open the courthouse on Saturday. They're really, none of the offices are open. We don't have the card players like we used to have. So I would suggest we just go ahead and let them close the courthouse on Saturday. City Hall is closed. I don't see any reason for us to have to have our girls come up and open and then come back tonight and close.
Make a motion, to close on Saturday, Judge.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. We've all had an opportunity to review the bills. Do I hear a motion to pay the bills?
Pay the bills, Judge.
Have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other business come before the court?
session with that personnel issue? Do we need to? We'd like to have a short executive session, Judge, discuss a personnel issue with you if we can.
All right. We have a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 In executive session. Call the court back into regular session. We're talking about some policies that we may need to implement with animal control. We've been talking about for some time getting policy and procedures put into place. And so we're gonna have a work session when Jeff gets back to talk about this. And another issue that involves our building inspection. Of course, we're going into a new direction there as well when we get everything in place. So we'll talk about that in our work session. Hopefully, we can get that scheduled for next week, sometime late in the afternoon, when Jeff gets back, prior to our next meeting of the fiscal court. All right, we paid the bills, did we not?
Yes.
We did.
All right, is there any other business?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I forgot to mention previously at the beginning of the meeting, a couple things. First of all, for our project meeting on next Saturday, we've asked people to, if they can, bring a canned good food item to either event for Levine. Shelves are pretty bare this time of year, so we'd like to put that in notes that anyway, Levine, please bring a non-perishable or canned good food item to the meetings.
Give us a quick update on our free clinic.
Oh, free clinic is going well. We are up to 194 patients, open every Thursday. We're looking like we could maybe open one night, but we are looking for more providers, some more doctors and nurse practitioners. So if you should know anybody, please send them our way. But things are going well. We would like to thank the clinic in Paducah. They just donated a lot of material to us, so things are going very well. And thank you for all of your support for the free clinic. It's definitely a gift and a ministry and something truly needed in Marshall County. So thank you for everything you do to help it.
Thanks, Tim. Any other business? Entertain a motion. Have a motion, is a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.